Hello, everyone. Welcome to the third official METAPIXEL Discord AMA. I'm Sart, the METAPIXEL Community Manager, and I'll be joined this time by the head of GSU Studio, Daniel, and METAPIXEL Planner / Designer Subsol for this AMA. This is actually the first AMA. With the recent announcement for tester recruitment in the second community test of Gran Saga Unlimited and the recent conclusion of the first community test, we thought it was a perfect time to hold another AMA to answer all your questions. We'll be running this AMA in a similar format to the previous event, with an FAQ section first to address some of the most commonly asked basic questions. Then we'll get into the AMA questions you submitted. And finally, we'll be closing with a free Q&A session where you guys can type in chat and ask questions directly to Daniel and Subsol. We'll also be revealing the confirmation word for the Zealy quest for AMA attendance at the end. Before we get started, I'll let Daniel and Subsol introduce themselves.
Hi everyone, I'm Daniel, the head of GSU Studio. I'm developing GSU with Nathan, as you'll know, the game director and other developers from last year. And I'm so excited to attend the AMA for the first time. So I've read all questions submitted, and it was really great to find all your interest on METAPIXEL and GSU. So I'm going to answer several of the questions related to GSU, which I can answer. And I hope your questions are cleared by this AMA. Thank you.
Hey everyone, this is Sapsal, also known as Kate. Just for information, Sapsal is the name of my favorite dog breed native to Korea. Anyway, I'm so excited and also very nervous to stand on stage in front of you for the first time. Happy to meet you all. Paul introduced me as the planner and designer of METAPIXEL. So that's correct, but to explain a bit more about what I'm doing here, I plan ahead, organize and solve things happening at METAPIXEL together with my teammates of the Meta Business team. And I also write design documents and translate text whenever needed. So I'm pretty much involved in everything. So remember, whatever we do at METAPIXEL, I'm behind it and watching you. There's one disclaimer for today. I've been suffering from a cold for the past few days. So even though I'm getting better now, I still have symptoms. So please don't be too surprised if I suddenly turn off my mic and disappear for 5 seconds. I'm probably coughing or cleaning my nose. So thank you for your kind understanding. In the case of emergency, where I'm coughing to death, I asked Hall for help and have him replace me. Wish me luck. Thank you. Where are you?
I forgot to unmute, sorry. 1 second. Thank you guys for the introductions. So we'll get started with the frequently asked questions that we want to get out of the way first. We got some questions about tokens. So there are absolutely zero plans for METAPIXEL to launch its own fungible token. So please be aware of any scams relating to this. And next we have rewards for the second test. You can find the full details in our tester recruitment announcement, which I'll link in the chat right now. 1 second. So this will have all the details about the testing process and rewards. But just quickly, quick summary. There will be an NFT reward for everyone who participates in the test. All 8,000 testers will receive a Mount NFT, which they can use in game. And then additionally, there will be a draw of 1,000 whitelist spots for the upcoming Catcher Mint from all testers. And we had quite a few questions curious about when the official launch of GSU will be. So previously, you might have seen an image circulating from the Seoul Aptos hack event from earlier this year that showed that Q3 of 2023 was the launch window of GSU. However, there was a reason we never officially confirmed this or publicly shared that image, as it was intended as just a rough estimate to provide to the attendees at the Aptos event. So in short, we don't have a fixed date for the full launch of GSU. The general idea right now is towards the end of 2023, but it's still variable according to many factors and may end up being shifted to another launch window, but we will update our community constantly as development progresses. Another thing to note is that we're not planning a concurrent global release. So what this means is we will launch in some regions first before expanding to others. And finally, some people are curious about the second test details. The second test will commence in early July with a recruitment process for testers lasting from April to mid-June. There are 5 ways to become a tester and become one of the 8,000 GSU community test players. For full details, you should refer to the tester recruitment announcement I just linked in the chat. So now that's out of the way, let's move on to the submitted questions you guys submitted to Daniel and Subsal. So the first one is from Masamoon8231. He asked, will all items, equipment, and mounts that are acquired be treated as NFTs? Or is there a process to convert them to NFTs? How do I buy and sell them? For instance, can Aptos or other crypto be used to buy and sell NFTs in game? And will it be possible to trade these NFTs on other NFT platforms like Topaz, for example? I look forward to the next test.
Hey, thank you for the question. So regarding your first question, if all items, equipment, and mounts that are acquired treated as NFTs, within GSU, only valuable rare items will be treated as NFTs. There will be a process of converting in-game items to NFTs, which we call MetaShift, and it's still under development. But basically, players can use this process to convert their rare items into NFTs. And your second question was, can Aptos be used to buy and sell NFTs in-game? And the answer is yes. Players will be able to buy and sell using Aptos token. And your last question, will it be possible to trade on other NFT platforms like Topaz, for example? The answer to this question is also yes. NFTs from the game will be available for players to trade on other platforms such as Topaz, as they will be just like any NFTs on Aptos as we are using the Aptos standard. So it's actually impossible for us to restrict this, so players will have control and freedom with their NFTs.
Yep, and this next question is from iPine5601. In the future, is there any chance for METAPIXEL to onboard off-chain / Web2 players into GSU?
Yes, this is a very important question. Our ultimate goal is to onboard a mass audience for our ecosystem in games. This is why we've taken steps such as partnering with Blockto to provide easy and seamless wallet integration that allows people to sign up using email or social logins and without needing to manage a seed phrase. Additionally, we're also removing common pain points for Web2 users transitioning to Web3, such as the hassle of gas fees with our proxy gas fee payment system, and removing the need to sign every transaction by using delegation. Furthermore, we're creating quality games that dispel the narrative that Web3 gamers are of lesser quality than Web2 games. And the feedback from the first test shows that we're on the right track, and several people have noted that they couldn't believe that GSU was a Web3 game when they saw it and played it. And we also saw some interest from players of the original Web2 Gran Saga toward GSU. So we will be adding more to our effort to onboard Web2 users in the future through various methods, including marketing, partnerships, development, and more.
Yep, and this next question is from Chumbe5592. He asks, what is the relationship between Catcher NFT and METAPIXEL?
I knew somebody would ask about Catcha. So Catcha will be METAPIXEL's PFP NFT representing the entire METAPIXEL ecosystem. However, they won't just be JPEGs. Catcha owners will be able to receive different kinds of utility. For example, in different games in our ecosystem, owning a Catcha might have different benefits or uses according to the game. Or Catcha might give their holders special membership benefits like acting as a game pass. These are just some possibilities of what we can offer to Catcha holders and the METAPIXEL ecosystem. So what I can tell you at the moment is that we will be dropping some cool stuff about Catcha in the near future. So please stay tuned.
Yep, and this next question is from Donglu Dog 1994. He has 4 questions actually. Number 1, will the game have a jump mode? Number 2, this isn't a question, but please let us move using the mouse. Number 3, will there be tokens after playing the game or NFTs? And number 4, if I have 2 computers in the same house, will I be banned?
For the first question, will the game have a jump mode? The answer is we have received a number of inquiries related to the jumping topic, but there are several issues regarding implementing a jump system. This seems quite simple on paper, but in reality, there are several technical issues and systems that interact with each other. And the second, the mouse movement. The mouse movement is a possibility for future development, but we currently do not have a concrete time frame or specific details to share at this point. And third question was, will there be tokens after playing this game or NFT? In-game NFTs can be acquired from playing the game, but there will be no fungible tokens derived from GSU. And the last question, if I have two computers in the same house, will it be banned? No, you will not be banned for having more than one PC using the same IP address. To go a bit further in detail, you cannot log in to the game from more than two devices with the same account at the same time, and also you cannot connect the multiple accounts from the same devices simultaneously.
Yep. And this next one is from OZA7Z4, 5623. How will the project team explore the Chinese market? Do you have any specific time plan?
Okay, we are aware that we have a large group of players from China and also many Chinese users interested in this game, for which we are very grateful. It's true that there are some countries in the world, so not only China, where providing direct services is difficult due to regulations. It would be great if this issue could be resolved before we launch the game, so we can provide a smooth gaming experience to our fans. However, we think you understand that we cannot guarantee this as it's not something we have control over. Nevertheless, we plan to give a high priority to developing solutions that will help users from around the world access and enjoy our game. We want everyone to be able to see, play, and love our game.
And this next one is from Mr. Brownie4059. He asks, "Hi Daniel, GSU was great. The chats are just waiting for the second test. We have a brutal appetite for the game. Today's question is a little personal. Daniel, please tell us, how did you get into METAPIXEL? What was the selection criteria? And what did you do before the game studio? Did you study?"
Well, Mr. Brownie, this is quite a personal question. Interesting. I look at someone with me with his forbidden spell. Just kidding. A few years ago, Lucas and I discussed game development using blockchain technology. So in 21, Lucas proposed that I join METAPIXEL based on its vision, and I was really excited about the vision of creating a more player-friendly game experience through blockchain technology. And I'd already been involved in game development before joining METAPIXEL and had been studying blockchain and investing in crypto since 2016. Thank you.
Yep. And this next one is from Joker225977. How will you run SBT, Soulbound tokens, on Aptos, and where can players get it?
METAPIXEL is currently developing the SBT system because we believe it is necessary to realize our plan for the METAPIXEL ecosystem. To achieve this, we are working closely with the Aptos team. We think you already saw some of the tweets we uploaded about the co-working session with Aptos. We are envisioning various types of SBTs for our ecosystem that can have different uses for streamers, players, and guilds. However, as the SBT is still under development, we cannot distribute final details yet. They will be earned by contributing and participating in the METAPIXEL ecosystem. Currently, the focus for SBT is to encourage different groups to come together and participate in METAPIXEL.
Yep. And this next one is from Feru90, 7550. He asks, "Hi, I understand that this question might make a grimace. I think this is directed towards Daniel, but still, what will the pioneers get for their contribution to the game? Is there really nothing but a role? Give at least a hint for motivation." And the second thing I want to ask in this question, can you please tell us a little more about the process and about the mechanics of things falling out, common, rare, epic items, etc.? Thank you, and see you in the second test.
Thank you for the question. We are very thankful to all the pioneers who have supported us from the early stage of the community test and actively participated in our first community test. Pioneers will be able to participate in the next round of tests and will receive a pioneer title at the launch of GSU. To make it easier for our early fans to participate in the coming second test, we included categories such as Be a Pioneer and Zilly Top 1000 so that they have a greater chance of getting the rewards attached to the second test, especially compared to people who are trying to enter JSU for the first time. We understand that this is not equivalent, but we wanted to look for a balance between multiple factors and interests. And we're conducting a more aggressive promotion this time by expanding the test pool because ultimately the world of MMORPGs is more enjoyable when more people join, I think. And we want to attract not only users in the Aptos ecosystem and those who understand Web3, but also other gamers. Maintaining balance is not easy, as you know. So if you have any opinions or concerns, please don't hesitate to speak up. We're happy to listen. And we'll keep working on finding ways to reward all these supporters and attract new users at the same time. And as for item drops, the more common and less valuable items will basically function with standard game random number generation system, but the most valuable and rare items will use our proof of play system. Thank you.
Yep. And this next question is from Adam G8939. He asks, in AMA number 1, you said you were working on your own wallet, but you were also trying to make sure that users of other non-custodial wallets will also be able to connect to METAPIXEL. As far as I know, SBT are non-transferable tokens. So, on which wallet exactly will the SBTs be stored? And this question is relevant if it's possible to receive and store SBTs on a non-custodial wallet. Will it be possible to link multiple addresses to a METAPIXEL account? For example, if the user has changed their address but doesn't want to lose the availability and usefulness of their SBT.
Okay, thank you for the question. So regarding your first question on which wallet exactly will SBT be stored, the details have not been fixed yet, but you will be able to store your SBT in a wallet address connected to your METAPIXEL account. And to your second question, so wallet policies. We are currently discussing our wallet policies now. And how we manage the wallets is not only an issue for SBT, but also for the entire game service. So we are approaching this very carefully to find the best possible solution. Of course, in any case, we will do our best to prevent unreasonable incidents like losing one's SBT, as you mentioned in your example. Thank you.
Yep, and this next question is from Rio Carnival 3895. He asks, the quality of the game during the first test was very impressive, but what stood out most was the way the operations and development team interacted with each individual player on Twitter and within the game itself. It was a fantastic first test and it conveyed a sense of dedication to the player base. What I would like to ask is about the participation token NFT for the next test. Instead of a typical mount that is common in other MMOs, I think it would be interesting to have 8,000 unique PFP-style mounts that are different for each participant. This would be fun and exciting for testers, and I believe it would be well received. What do you think?
Rio, thank you for the compliment for the first coming test. And actually, this is a very interesting concept and is actually something that we've been considering. However, there are a number of technical hurdles we need to clear before we can implement it, but we will definitely be exploring this idea further for unique looking mounts. Thank you.
Yep. And this next question comes from Gorknez0016. What is your solution? What is your suggested solution for the enthusiasts who can't get into the test through the lottery draws?
Okay, for people who are unlucky and don't get into the test from either the member draw or early adopter draw, they will be able to get into the test by getting an access code. As the first test was quite limited overall with just 500 testers, we weren't able to give out as many access codes as we wanted, but this time we will be able to give out more access codes, and in a greater number of ways. People will be able to gain test access codes like before from our partnered guilds and gaming organizations and streamers, and we will be able to give out access codes through our Discord this time, such as through events.
Yep. And this next question comes from, sorry, I can't read Cyrillic. So, Discord tag is 1073. Hi, I would like to ask 2 questions. Why is there no dodging and jumping in this game? This is how it should be in modern games.
Okay, first about the jump. As it was mentioned in one of the previous questions, there is a demand for a jump system, but there are technical issues about it, a bit more than it looks like. And second, about the dodge. Jisoo will be serviced in multiple regions, but the physical size of each region may be larger than you imagine. Therefore, the game system designs based on low latency are avoided as much as possible, except for special situations. We have decided to exclude dodging from the combat system for the same reason. Let's imagine, if dodging becomes possible, there may be situations where the players think the character has successfully dodged from how it appears on their PC, but out of latency issues, the damage is still occurred. This can be more a serious issue in PvP or RVR, where it is also possible that the player think that they have heat, but the actual judgment did not occur. So in the early stage of GSU, combat was designed with a focus on instant reaction using dodging, but eventually we decided to use a target-based damage method considering players' fatigue and latency issues. However, not all damage is target-based now. Some NPC skills operated on a range-based damage system. However, physics skills are processed as target-based damage to consider PvP or RVR situation. Thank you.
And this next question from OXE3389. What improvements can we expect for the next GSU test? What were the most frequent suggestions for improvements among testers? Was it navigation between maps or having to click the same key several times?
In the process of preparing for the next test, there are 2 main categories that are being heavily focused on. Firstly, the integration of Web3 features. This includes the integration of in-game special features connected to SBT and the acquisition and viewing of items connected to proof of play. Through these features, testers will be able to imagine the basic form of Web3 features that will be introduced in GSU in the future. Secondly, enhancing player experience. There has been a lot of feedback that the gameplay was not smooth due to unfriendly guides and insufficient functions, and our team empathizes with this. Our team is currently prioritizing the improvement of systems such as quest guides, various start alerts, and polishing the map system to make playing smoother. And we are also improving the chat and emote system to enable faster and smoother communication within many players. Thank you.
And this next question is from Guguru9448. He asks, will you expand the range of promotions and partnerships for Metapixel? For example, gaming hardware giant Razer launched their Web3 incubator recently.
Yes, our team is very active in the business development aspect of the ecosystem. You might have seen our recent Blockto partnership on Twitter as one recent example. We also have more partnerships in the pipeline covering different areas. We are not just limiting ourselves to working on Web3 partnerships either, and we may be able to show some exciting examples of this down the line.
And these next few questions are all Daniel. So Eden888891 asks, starting the second test with the addition of the clan creation feature, I would like to know if you have any plans to exploit the special features that such a clan system could have. What perks will the ranks come with? Will you plan daily events to connect members? Will you have guild bosses, for example? And what unique visual effects of each rank or benefits will come with upgrading your guild? Will you be able to build houses, decorate them, or add amenities and receive perks, for example?
I think it's a good idea. In the second community test, we'll plan to reveal the basic functions of clans such as creation, membership, communication, and ranking. And after the second test, we plan to implement clan enhancement feature. We're also discussing the following ideas. The first is granting roles within clans. Clan masters can assign unique in-game effects to clan members based on their roles. And the second, the clan headquarters, a game space exclusively available to clan members. And third, the clan store, a store within the game that is only accessible to clan members, offering different products depending on the clan ranking. And the last, the clan raid, a large-scale raid which clan members can challenge in real time. But however, these items will not be implemented at once, so we plan to gradually introduce them through testing and adjust priorities accordingly. Thank you.
And another one, Mike Gam 8959 asks, will Metapixel have an in-game cash store? For example, do you know MapleStory? Inside that game, they have a cash store.
Yes, I well know what MapleStory. And okay, let me answer. As we have consistently mentioned, our ultimate goal is to bring masses on Web3. From the perspective, we believe that if everything is provided through blockchain or crypto, it'll still be difficult for people without a Web3 experience to onboard onto game. Therefore, we're creating a game that allows users to see the benefits of blockchain technology from a technical standpoint. And we're considering selling product that enhance or make user experiences more convenient as long as they don't compromise game balance. However, there's still a lot to be addressed policy-wise, so it's difficult to provide details at this point. Nevertheless, we plan to provide the options for users to choose between crypto or fiat money based on their preferences. Thank you.
And Art2Rich9336 asks, hello, thanks for the game. Next time I would like to test longer. Would it be possible to increase the test period from 4 days to longer next time?
Oh, yes. A lot of testers said that they wanted more time with the game than the first test. And in the second test, the testing period will be extended further. We'll share the full testing length later, but it'll be significantly longer than the first test. Thank you.
Yeah, and this next question asks, I want to ask you a question about enhancing armor. Will there be a handover of armor skills like the original Gran Saga?
Oh, you might be the player of the original Web2 Gran Saga. We internally refer to such a feature as essence extraction, and we have discussed applying it to GSU. But the item system and mechanics that GSU currently pursues are significantly different from the original Gran Saga, so it is difficult to apply. Systems related to items have a significant impact on player-oriented economic mechanics. Therefore, we are carefully designing the system with the assumption that items will be grown, reinforced, and traded among players. Thank you.
Yep. And this next one, there's 4 related questions in one. This is from DJ Nami. Number 1, what is the game's end-game content like, and how does it differ from the rest of the game? Number 2, how does the game's economy work, and what are the ways players can make money in the game? Number 3, what are some of the biggest challenges players will face in the game, and how can they overcome them? And number 4, how does the game's world and lore differ from other MMORPGs, and what makes GSU unique?
Thank you, Nami. The first question, what is the game's end game? The end game content is divided into 2 main directions. The first one is cooperative, like a boss raid, and the second one is a competitive contents like PvP and RBR. And the second question, how does the game's economy work, and what are some ways players can make money in the game? The game will have core game assets that are not easily obtainable and require effort and time, and these will be managed based on the proof of play. Players can check the supply and drop rate of core assets through proof of play based on explorers, and the value of assets will be determined based on the information and actual demand and supply. Buying and selling assets is up to the player's freedom, and we're not making a game just to make money. And the third question, what are some of the biggest challenges a player faces in this game? There will be challenging PvE and PvP contents that can be overcome through character growth, understanding of strategy, like proficiency, and cooperation with other players. And the last question, how does the game word and lore differ from the other MMORPGs? In summary, the biggest differentiator of the world and lore of Gran Saga Unlimited is not the unlimited world is connected to the real world. The game's huge narrative involves the real-world players crossing over the unlimited world and solving its problems. However, this narrative is not limited to the game setting, as features such as NFTs with blockchain elements that function within the game, and the previously mentioned system agent, which can have the power to affect the elements that make up the game world in the real world. Differentiate the game by actually connecting it to reality. Thank you.
And this next one is from Travis4675. He asks, hello, I'm a lover of MMO and RPG games. I'd like to know how you're going to deal with the inflation of items generated within Gran Saga Unlimited.
Thank you for the question. Our team has considered several methods to regulate and deal with the flow of items in game. Proof of play is one way to regulate the supply and release to schedule for valuable game items, letting us set a designated number of valuable items for each server, so items can maintain their scarcity and value. And it also allows players to see item data transparently, which improves player trust and allows players to make more informed decisions. This will allow us to create a fairer and more balanced economic system and encourage more competition among players for limited rare items. Thank you.
And next we have Rowena3282. He asks, there are many characters in the existing Gran Saga. Will Yuna, Kaito, Jun, etc. characters that have not been released in GSU be added later?
As you may have already seen, the character classes in this game are based on existing Gran Saga characters, and we have more character classes that will be added into the game in the future. However, if you have played the original Gran Saga, you may feel that GSU's class design is slightly different from the characters in the Gran Saga. While the class design is based on the characters in the Gran Saga, GSU aims to different gameplay mechanics than the original Gran Saga characters. Additionally, there are other ways for beloved Gran Saga characters to appear in GSU. You might have done some of the Gran Saga scenario casting in the first test and met original Gran Saga characters. And we will be adding different connections for players to explore in the class and the gameplay of GSU. Thank you.
And finally, we have Zesty5803. He asks, Metapixel is a flagship for the Aptos chain. How will the design of the second community test create envy for other games to join Aptos as well?
Zesty, thank you for the question. Yeah, currently Aptos is still in the growth phase, and we are excited to be part of the future of Web3 gaming on Aptos. We think regardless, Aptos will be able to attract more high-quality projects to its ecosystem, but it is true that we are their first gaming partner and one of their flagship projects on the chain, so we do have a role to play. With the design and goals of our second community test, we think that these can be aligned. The second test will allow us to display some of the Web3 features we have planned, which can show the potential of Web3 games to build on Aptos. A lot of the technical aspects we are working on are only possible because we are building on Aptos, and the Aptos team themselves are very active in working with us and providing support for our project development. I think this is an often overlooked aspect, but the relationship we have with Aptos is a huge help to us, and other gaming projects could certainly benefit from not just the technical advantages of Aptos, but the Aptos team too. Secondly, the overall quality and visual appeal of our project stands out not just on Aptos but across all chains, so sharing content and supporting streamers in our community to share content will be a priority. People who don't pay attention to Aptos have seen the quality of our project from the screenshots and video from our first test, and this made them reconsider their biases against Aptos. So I think showing more of our project, getting as much content from the second test distributed, and getting it in front of more people from across Web3 will help shift the narrative and create more positive awareness for Aptos. The first test was just a start for spreading awareness, and there is a lot of work still to do. But the second test will be the perfect opportunity to really display Metapixel and Aptos to a wider audience. Finally, I think the second test can show that there's a strong, passionate community of gamers on Aptos that games can connect with, while also giving a chance to outsiders to join through expanded testing numbers and more access code distribution. We had thousands of people apply to become a tester, and the metrics gathered from the first test were very encouraging. We had high average playtime among testers, with the top 200 testers spending 7 hours each day playing. We also had great retention, with final day retention landing at 72%, meaning 72% of all testers were active through the entire test. The exit survey indicated that the vast majority of players enjoyed the game, and 98% would consider playing the game in the future. This was achieved through holding a lot of in-game events and having a lot of interesting content in the game for players, so we'll look to repeat that again. Thank you.
Thank you for all your questions. That were really insightful, and we had a lot of fun coming up with answers to them. So now it's time for the free Q&A section. So we'll start the free Q&A session. So if you have anything to ask, type it in the chat, and then I'll direct the questions to one of my co-hosts to answer. So I think the first one was from Angel from Aptos. He asks, how long is the game to beat in general?
It is quite hard to answer now, but for the max level, we are focusing to beat it about months, like not in 1 month, but more than 2 or 3 months, because we are planning to design the growth balances is focused on to that not everyone have enough time to play, so we are designing like who was the questioner? The angel? Yes, at the first coming test, we have a party points, as you know. The party point is really seriously related to the growth rate. So the party point is based on the time schedule. So it may take about more than 2 or 3 months to beat in general, I think. Thank you.
Joseph's answer was, as our title suggests, it's unlimited. And we'll move on to the next one. So
I think there's a question that was already in the questions before, so about China. There's Aptos News, will China be able to play the game? So to repeat what I have answered before, yeah, we are aware that we have fans in China, and many Chinese fans want to play the game, but due to regulations, you probably understand it's not easy to provide direct services. But yeah, we are doing our best to develop solutions that will help users from around the world access and enjoy the game. I hope that might be the answer to it.
Yep. Richie Ox Kerimo Richieland asks, will you do an additional study on opening the project to different countries for the content producers, guilds, and influencers? I think this is something Subsol can answer.
I don't quite understand what the study here means.
I think he's asking, will we look into expanding to different countries through content producers and guilds and influencers?
Of course, we are always open to new collaborations and new projects if we can have mutual benefits to each other. And I would really like to know like what you are up to, Richie Land. I think you have contacted us before, maybe. Yeah. But yeah, the answer to your question is yes.
And Drixus asks, hi, I have a question. Do you have a plan in optimizing your game system requirements? I have a high spec PC, but unfortunately my GPU is just average. It's a 1050 Ti. So I wasn't able to enjoy the graphics since I had to set it to low and the high resolution was lagging. So I think this is something Daniel can answer about future optimization of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we are planning to optimize our system now. So we are focused to optimize that you can play in current laptop like what was the GPU's name? UHD 11th generation. So I think you can play well by the end of the year, this year. That's our goal. So yes, we are planning to optimizing right now. But we are trying to, not promising.
Yeah. And this next question from me, NFT, he asks, "Hi guys, I wanted to clarify. Should we wait for additional rewards for those who have been with the project since the beginning? As it is in the top crew 3. I think this is for Subsal.
Okay, thank you for your question. So your question was if you have to wait for awards, if you are an early fan of our community, right? So yeah, we are actually in this for the long haul. So we think our project is still in the early stage, and yeah, maybe it's not the answer you wanted to hear, but we are planning and building a lot of things to create the gaming ecosystem we are envisioning. So I hope you have a bit more patience until we can reveal more about our plans and our rewards. But yeah, we are always very grateful for the early fans, and we are always considering how to compensate and reward our early supporters who made this possible. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. This next question looks like it's directed towards Daniel from Kiwi. Will the servers be separated by region when the game is released?
Yes, I've already answered in AMA previously. The GSU will be serviced in multiple regions, but the physical size of each region is not determined yet, but I think it may be larger than you imagine. So the answer is yes, and maybe we can test in several regions when we starting official launch by end of the year. Thank you.
Yep. This next question from Bazarus. Will the clans in the game, so GSU, be shared with other Metapixel games?
This is quite great idea because I've never thought about this, but it's really great idea to be considered. So at this time, I cannot answer about this correctly, but yes, we can consider it. But I have to discuss with Lucas first.
Yep. And this next question is from Drixis. What is the main focus in GSU? Is it to be the top player or top guild? How will you define these achievements? I think this is directed towards Daniel.
Mm-hmm. The main focus of the game is, as we already mentioned, at the first, I think was a second article to become a system agent for each player, which means it's the kind of a top player can affect his or her ability to the real game world. But this is not a single play game, so we are trying to have some serious contents of guild or clans, so to become one of the top clans in the game. So there are two ways to become a top. The first one is the single system agent, and the second one is the top clan, I think, currently.
Yep. And Enoch W asks if it's region blocked, do you need a VPN to play? and region blocks related to local regulations. We touched on this a little bit. I think Subsol can answer this.
I think your question kind of answers itself. So yeah, yes. Even in our previous test, yeah, there were some some countries that has some issues to play. So I think probably you have already used VPN for playing it. So yeah, region block is yes. That's the answer. The local regulations. We are very carefully approaching this. So yeah, we hope that those issues can be resolved at the launch of our game so that everyone can play around the world. Pray for us. Thank you.
And Ox Camera has another question. He asked, as far as I know, Metapixel currently has 3 different explained games. Just quickly, actually, there's 2 games, Pixelcraft and Grand Saga Unlimited. Catcher isn't quite a game, but it is true that we have 3 upcoming projects. Are you thinking of making these games token focused or NFT focused? I think this question is something Subsol can answer.
Yeah, we have announced our roadmap for this year at the hackathon in February, and I think you are referring to that. Yeah, as Saul mentioned, Catcha is not actually a game; it's a PFP NFT project. But anyway, so the games we want to make on the MetaPixel ecosystem is actually a game that will not be explained simply by it's an NFT game. We want to make a game that is playable for everyone, even for Web2 gamers who are not so familiar with all the Web3 features. So basically, in order to play the game, you won't have to buy an NFT, but you will slowly be integrated into the Web3 systems. And eventually, you are going to be an owner of NFTs and have a wallet. So that's our goal. So I hope that explains, answers your question.
Yep. And this next question asks, when's the raffle for next testers? Subsol.
Yeah. So we are currently doing the getting applications for the MetaPixel member draw. So when that period is over, we are going over to get applications from top rankers of Zili and also early adopter NFT holders. So when everything is over, we will do the raffle for the next tester at the end of June. So yeah, please stay with us until then, and good luck.
Yep. And I think Puma Plays has a question. I think this one looks like it's for Daniel. What security measures will your team add to the game so it'll be safe from exploits? Also, are you still open for streamer partnerships, and if so, how to apply? I think the second part of that question is for Subsol, so I'll let Daniel answer first.
Yes, we adapted some of the game guard system to avoid it from exploits. And we are trying to look like in the client system, we adapted the I can't remember the name of the guard product that is kind of an protector system we adapted, and also the solver is based on the cloud system. So we are trying to focus to avoid the exploit in many ways. So don't worry about it. We're trying to very carefully. And Subsol?
Yeah, streamer partnerships for Subsol.
Can you repeat the question? I'm sorry.
He wants to know.
Open for streamer partnerships. Yes. We have still time until the second test occurs. So yeah, we can say we are still open for streamer partnerships. So please contact us if you have any inquiries.
Yeah, and by contact us, we mean contact Joseph. Please don't DM me.
Yes.
And Kiwi has another question. He asks, May I ask about the income of the MedPixel team? Where will you guys get it from? For example, will you be getting it from selling in-game items, or will you be getting from fees for converting tokens / NFTs? I think Subsol and Daniel can both provide some insight into this one.
I think Sapsol is better than me about this question.
No, I wanted you to answer this. Okay, so the METAPIXEL team, we are actually a team under NPixel, which is a Korean developer, game developer of Gran Saga. So yeah, we get salary from the company.
Yeah, Kivi's question was about the sales of the game. I think we have we consider two ways to get the income from JCU. The first one is selling in-game item, which is not affecting in-game balance. And mostly we are considering to get our income from the fee of converting token on NFT. And this is the answer.
Yep. Ox Camo says, by the way, as a last question, is email the best way to contact the team? I think Subsol can answer this one.
Yes, currently email is the only way to contact us. Yes, you want to meet us? We could maybe arrange an online meeting. But yes, currently we have only opened our MetaPixel Biz email to contact, and so we yeah, ask you not to write a ticket about this. Thank you.
And Vixus asks, while waiting for the next testing, what's your plan for the community? Should we just wait for the second test? I think Subsol?
While waiting for the next second testing, what's your plan for the community? Do we just wait? Yes, but also we have exciting news to come. For example, we are planning some for catch-up, so maybe meanwhile you have something to have fun with.
Yep. And it seems like that's all the questions in chat for now. So I think a lot of people were asking about the confirmation word for the Zealy quest. So I'm going to talk. One more question in chat. I think this is for Daniel. Will there be any NFTs in game related to avatars, clothes, and pets or weapons?
Very interesting question, and the answer is absolutely yes. And I can confirm the categories of in-game items which can transfer to NFTs, but yes, definitely they exist.
Yep. And I think we'll let this one be the last question. Velhart asks, do you guys have an idea on how many beta keys / access codes will be allocated to guilds in the second test? I think Subsol can answer this one.
So you want to know how many access codes will be allocated to guilds? Well, yeah, it depends. We are currently discussing about the allocation of all the tester spots for the second test, but we know that guilds have played a major role last time at the first test, so we value that very much, and we will take that definitely into consideration.
Yep. So back to what I was saying about the Zealy AMA attendance confirmation word. The word is SBT. in all capital letters, SBT. I'm going to type it now in chat for everyone so they can enter it into the Zealy quest. So make sure you go to our METAPIXEL Zealy page and enter that into the AMA number 3 quest to get your points. And so we're going to wrap this up now. So thank you everyone for attending the AMA and asking your questions. We hope you learned a lot more about GSU, METAPIXEL, and the upcoming test. And I'll let Daniel and Subsol say their final thoughts.
Well, yes. Thank you for the attending, Amy, and then the questions was really interesting, and I hope to expect to attend next AMA at the time future. Thank you.
Yeah, it was very a very exciting time to meet you everyone here, and I was super nervous at the beginning of everything, but I think yeah, I hope you enjoyed our AMA and you had fun, and please come back to our next AMA and also apply to for our second test. Thank you. See you later.
Thank you guys. Bye everyone.